Chosen ones, God waited 2 hours to say this. Don't ignore it. Listen. That restlessness stirring in your chest, that quiet whisper pulling at your soul. It's not random. It's not your imagination playing tricks in the dark. Right now, at this exact moment, heaven has paused its eternal rhythm to speak directly to you. You didn't stumble across this message by chance. This is no ordinary video in your endless scroll. This is a divine interruption, a sacred summons, a moment so critical that God waited 2 hours in the courts of eternity to deliver it. Why 2 hours? Because this message is tailored for you, chosen one, crafted with precision to reach you before the clock strikes your next season. Don't ignore it. Your destiny hinges on what you do in the next 60 minutes. Feel that quickening in your spirit? That's not anxiety, that's awakening. That's the Holy Spirit nudging you to recognize the weight of this moment. You're not here by accident. You've been divinely guided to this second, this breath, this truth. For years you've carried burdens others couldn't see. Sleepless nights, wondering why your prayers seemed to echo unanswered. Moments of rejection that left scars no one else noticed. Dreams you buried because the world told you they were impossible. You've stood at closed doors, keys in hand, only to find the locks changed. You've prayed for breakthroughs while watching others walk into theirs. And somewhere along the way you started to believe the lie that maybe, just maybe, God's plan skipped over you. But here's the truth that will shatter every doubt. You weren't forgotten. You were forged. Every tear, every trial, every moment of silence was divine preparation for what's coming. This video unveils a unique truth. Your deepest fears are the keys to your greatest breakthroughs. God is about to show you how the very things that held you back are the tools He's placed in your hands to unlock your divine purpose. Picture this. A radiant door stands before you, carved from celestial light. Your name etched in gold across its surface. It pulses with promise, vibrating with the energy of everything you've ever prayed for. Peace that surpasses understanding, provision that overflows, purpose that sets your soul ablaze. This door isn't locked, it's not barred, but it's waiting for you to step forward. Why haven't you? Because fear has been whispering lies louder than faith. Fear of failure, fear of not being enough, fear that this moment might be another disappointment. But chosen one, fear is not your master. It's a liar, and today we're exposing it. The Bible declares in 2 Timothy 1:7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." That fear you feel, it's not from God. It's a phantom guard, and it's time to fire it. Your spiritual awakening begins now. Let's talk about why you're here. You've been through storms that should have broken you. You've faced rejections that cut deeper than knives. You've watched opportunities slip through your fingers like sand, and you've wondered if God was even listening. But what if I told you that every closed door was His protection? Every delay was His preparation. Every no was redirecting you to a yes, so powerful it will echo through generation. Think about Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, locked in a prison for a crime he didn't commit. Door after door slammed in his face. But Genesis 50:20 reveals the truth. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Those closed doors weren't punishment. They were positioning Him to save nations. Your story is no different. Every rejection you faced wasn't God saying no to you. It was God saying, "Not that door. I have something better." Imagine a scroll unfurling in heaven, its edges glowing with divine fire. Your name is written across it, not in ink, but in the blood of the Lamb. This scroll holds your assignment, your purpose, your breakthrough. It's been sealed until this moment, waiting for you to say yes. but here's the urgency. This scroll won't wait forever. God's mercy is eternal, but his assignments are tied to divine timing. Isaiah 55:6 warns, "Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call on him while he is near." There's a while in that verse because even God's opportunities have windows. Noah had a window to build the ark before the flood came. Esther had a window to approach the king before her people faced destruction. You have a window right now, but it's closing. Don't let fear make you miss it. Let me share a story about Mariah, a single mother from Atlanta. At 38, she was drowning in debt, working 2 jobs and raising 3 kids alone. For years, she prayed for a breakthrough, but every door seemed locked. She'd applied for promotions only to be passed over. She'd pitched business ideas only to be told they weren't viable. One night, exhausted and on the verge of giving up, she felt a stirring in her spirit to start a small catering business. From fear screamed, "You don't have the money. You don't have the time. What if you fail?" But Maria chose faith over fear. She wrote down her goal: serve 10 clients by the end of the month. She called a friend to help spread the word. Within weeks, her phone was ringing off the hook. Today, Maria's catering business employs 12 people and serves corporate events across Georgia. Her fear of failure was the key to her breakthrough. She didn't wait for perfect conditions. She acted. What fear is holding you back? Name it. Because once you do, it loses its power. Here's where this gets practical. Your spiritual awakening isn't just about feeling inspired, it's about moving your feet. Faith without works is dead, says James 2:17. God's not asking you to leap mountains today. He's asking you to take small, intentional steps that align with his promises. Here are 3 specific actions you can take right now to step into your divine purpose. First, write down one goal for the next 7 days. It could be starting a project, applying for a job, or even forgiving someone who hurt you. Be specific. Put it somewhere you'll see it daily. Second, reach out to one person who can support your journey. Maybe it's a friend you've lost touch with, a mentor, or someone who needs your encouragement. Send that text or make that call today. Third, take one tangible step toward a dream you've delayed. If it's a business, register the name. If it's a ministry, share your vision with one person. These steps aren't random. They're bridges between your current reality and God's promises. Don't add more steps. Just do these 3 and watch how heaven responds. If this message is stirring your soul, consider supporting our mission through Super Thanks below. Your generosity helps us reach more chosen ones standing at their own doors, ready to step into their destiny. Every seed you sow spreads hope further, but whether you give or simply receive, your presence here is ordained. Now, let's keep moving. Picture yourself standing on a battlefield, not as a victim, but as a warrior. The enemy isn't your circumstances, your past, or even the people who hurt you. The enemy is fear, and it's been waging war on your destiny since the day you were born. Why? Because hell knows what heaven sees in you. Ephesians 1:4 declares, "He chose us in him before the foundation of the world. Before stars were hung in the sky, God pointed at you and said, 'That one's mine.'" But chosen doesn't mean easy. It means you're a threat to darkness. The intensity of your battles proves the magnitude of your blessing. Let's talk about David. As a boy, he faced a lion and a bear to protect his sheep. Those weren't random attacks. They were training grounds for Goliath. When David stood before that giant, he wasn't fearless. His knees might have shaken, but his faith didn't. He didn't wait for a better weapon or a bigger army. He acted with what he had, a slingshot and a stone. Your fears are your lions and bears. They're not here to destroy you. They're here to prepare you for your Goliath moment. What's your slingshot? It's the small step you take today, the prayer you pray despite doubt, the goal you write despite uncertainty. Don't despise small beginnings. Zechariah 4:10 says, "Who dares despise the day of small things?" Your small step is a seed, and God's about to make it grow. Some of you are thinking, but what if I fail? What if I step out and fall? Let me ask you this. What if you succeed? What if this is the moment everything shifts? Failure isn't the end, it's a teacher. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Each failure was a lesson, not a defeat. Your past mistakes don't disqualify you, they educate you. God doesn't call the perfect, He perfects the called. Your breakthrough isn't waiting for you to be ready, it's waiting for you to be willing. And right now, heaven is leaning in, waiting for your yes. If you're feeling the fire of this message, type "I am breaking free from fear" in the comments below. Your declaration seals your commitment to step into your divine moment. Pray for the person who commented before you, because you're not alone in this journey. We're a family of chosen ones, bound by purpose, standing together. Now, let's keep going. Imagine a river, its current strong and unyielding, carrying you toward your destiny. You've been fighting the current, clinging to the shore of fear, thinking it's safer to stay still. But God's saying, let go, trust the flow. Psalm 23:2 promises, He leads me beside still waters. Even in the rush of life's challenges, God's peace guides you. Your job isn't to control the river, it's to trust the one who carved its path. Let's talk about Sarah from Chicago. At 52, she'd spent decades in a dead-end job, afraid to pursue her dream of opening a bakery. Fear told her she was too old, too inexperienced, too broke. But one Sunday, during a sermon, she felt a spark. She wrote down her goal: bake 50 cupcakes for a local event. She called a friend to help promote it. She took one step, renting a small kitchen space. Within months, her cupcakes were the talk of the neighborhood. Today, Sarah's bakery supplies local cafes, and she's mentoring young women in business. Her fear of starting late was the key to her breakthrough. She didn't need a degree or $1 million. She needed faith and action. What's your cupcake? What's the small step God's asking you to take? Fear loves to masquerade as wisdom. It tells you to wait for more money, more clarity, more confirmation. But faith walks before it sees. Hebrews 11:1 defines it. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Notice the word now. Faith doesn't wait for tomorrow, it acts today. You don't need all the answers. You need trust in the one who holds them. Think about Esther. When she approached the king to save her people, she didn't know if she'd live or die. Her fear was real, but her faith was greater. She acted, and a nation was saved. Your action today could save someone's hope, someone's dream, someone's future. Let's revisit those 3 steps, because they're your roadmap. First, write down one goal for the next 7 days. Make it clear, like Maria's client list or Sarah's cupcakes. Second, reach out to one person who can walk with you. Connection breaks isolation's grip. Third, take one tangible step toward your dream. Don't overthink it, just move. These steps are enough for now. God's not asking for a 5-year plan. He's asking for your next move. Proverbs 16:9 says, In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Your job is the step. His job is the path. Some of you are carrying fears you haven't named. Maybe it's the fear of success. What if you step out and everything changes? What if you become the person God sees? Or maybe it's the fear of judgment. What will people say if you chase that dream? Let me tell you about James, a 45-year-old teacher from Seattle. He loved writing but feared no one would read his work. For years he hid his stories in a drawer. One day he felt a nudge to share one online. Fear screamed, "They'll laugh!" But James posted it anyway. That story went viral, landing him a book deal. His fear of rejection was the key to his breakthrough. What's in your drawer? What dream are you hiding because fear's guarding the door? If you're ready to claim your divine moment, type "I am stepping through fear" in the comments below. Your words are a declaration, a stake in the ground for your destiny. Lift up the person who commented before you in prayer, because we're warriors standing together. Now let's keep moving. Imagine a tapestry, every thread a moment of your life, your joys, your pains, your fears. From where you stand it looks messy, tangled, but from heaven's view, it's a masterpiece. Romans 8:28 promises, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Your fears are threads woven into a story of triumph. They're not your enemy. They're your training ground. Let's talk about why fear feels so heavy. It's not just doubt, it's spiritual warfare. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us, our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world. The enemy knows your breakthrough threatens his plans. That's why fear hits hardest when you're closest to your destiny. But here's the good news. The enemy's already defeated. Colossians 2:15 declares, "And having disarmed the powers and authorities, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross." Your fear is a bluff. Call it out and it crumbles. If this message is stirring hope in your heart, consider supporting us through Super Thanks below. Your gift helps us reach more souls ready to break free from fear and step into their divine purpose. But whether you give or simply receive, your presence here is a victory. Let's keep going. Picture yourself at the edge of a cliff, the wind of possibility rushing past. Below is a valley of unknowns, but above, the stars spell out your name, God saying, "Jump, I've got you." Your fear of the fall is real, but your faith in his hands is stronger. Psalm 91:11 promises, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." You're not stepping into danger, you're stepping into destiny. Let's talk about legacy. Your breakthrough isn't just for you, it's for the generations behind you. When you face your fear, you're breaking chains your children won't have to carry. Think about Harriet Tubman. She faced fear every time she led slaves to freedom. Her courage didn't just save lives, it changed history. Your courage today could change someone's eternity. Maybe it's a child watching you rise, a friend inspired by your faith, or a stranger touched by your story. Your fear is the gatekeeper, but faith is the key. Those 3 steps, writing a goal, reaching out, taking action, are your weapons. Don't add more. Just wield these. Maria's catering business started with a goal. Sarah's bakery began with a phone call. James's book deal came from one post. Small steps shift atmospheres. God's not looking for perfection. He's looking for movement. Matthew 17:20 says, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move,' and it will move." Your mustard seed is your next step. Plant it now. If you're feeling the weight of this moment, type, "I am claiming my breakthrough" in the comments below. Your declaration is a battle cry, echoing in heaven and shaking hell. Pray for the person who commented before you, because we're an army of chosen ones, linked by faith. Now, let's press on. Imagine a lighthouse, standing firm against crashing waves. That's you, chosen one. Your fears are the waves, but your faith is the light. John 8:12 records Jesus saying, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness." Your fears can't extinguish his light in you. They can only make it shine brighter. Let's talk about time. You might think you have years to conquer your fears, but divine moments are fleeting. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens." This is your season. Don't let it pass. Think about Moses. At 80, he faced his fear of leading Israel. His hesitation almost cost him, but his obedience changed history. Your age, your past, your doubts, they don't disqualify you. They're your credentials. God's waiting for your yes. Your fears aren't random. They're strategic. The enemy targets what threatens him most: your dream, your calling, your purpose. They're weapons in God's hands. That's why fear feels like a prison, but Jesus came to set captives free. Luke 4:18 proclaims, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, to proclaim freedom for the prisoners." Your freedom is now. Those 3 steps, your goal, your outreach, your action, are your keys. Use them. Don't wait for fear to vanish. Act through it and watch it flee. Chosen one, you're at the edge of your divine moment. Heaven's holding its breath. Hell's trembling. Your next move decides everything. Will you let fear write your story, or will you let faith author your breakthrough? The door's open, the scroll's ready. Your name's echoing in eternity. Don't ignore it. Step through. Your destiny's waiting. Chosen one, as you stand at the threshold of this radiant door, its golden light spilling over you, feel the weight of this moment. It's not just a door. It's a portal to the life God envisioned when He knit you together in your mother's womb. Psalm 139:13 through to 14 sings, "For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made." You weren't crafted for ordinary. You were designed for extraordinary, sculpted with divine intention to carry a purpose that ripples through eternity. But here's the truth that will shake you awake. The enemy doesn't fear your past failures. He fears your future victories. That's why he's deployed fear to guard this door, whispering lies that you're too broken, too late, too small. Today we're dismantling those lies with the hammer of God's truth. Your spiritual awakening is not a distant hope. It's unfolding now, and your fears are the very keys unlocking your divine purpose. Imagine a vast ocean, its waves crashing with untamed power. You're in a small boat, oars in hand, staring at the horizon where your destiny waits. The waves of fear, doubt, rejection, uncertainty threaten to swamp you. But Jesus is in the boat, calm and unshaken, saying, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid, those waves aren't your enemy. They're your training ground, teaching you to row through storms, to trust the one who commands the sea." Every fear you've faced has been a wave, preparing you for this moment when you must row toward the shore of your calling. You don't need the waves to stop. You need the courage to keep rowing. Your faith journey is about movement, not perfection, and every stroke of the oar is a declaration that fear won't write your story. Let's talk about the lie that fear tells you, that you're alone in this battle. Nothing could be further from the truth. Right now, across cities and continents, thousands of chosen ones are facing their own doors, wrestling with their own fears, feeling the same holy tremor you feel. You're part of a divine tapestry, a remnant woven together by God's hand, each thread strengthening the others. Hebrews 12:1 reminds us, "Since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles." That cloud of witnesses isn't just in heaven, it's here, in the comments below, in the hearts of those watching this video, standing with you. You're not alone. You're part of an army, and your breakthrough strengthens us all. Consider Rachel, a 29-year-old nurse from Dallas. For years, she felt a call to start a community health program for low-income families, but fear of failure kept her silent. She worried she lacked the skills, the funding, the support. One evening, scrolling through her phone, she felt a spark in her spirit. She wrote down her goal: plan one free health clinic by next month. She called a colleague to brainstorm. She took one step, booking a community center for a pilot event. That clinic served 50 families, sparking a movement that now reaches hundreds. Rachel's fear of not being enough was the key to her breakthrough. She didn't need a perfect plan. She needed faith to act. Your fear is no different. It's not a barrier. It's a bridge to your personal transformation. Those 3 steps you've already heard, writing a goal, reaching out to someone, taking one tangible action, are your oars. Don't look for more. These are enough. They're simple, but they're powerful, like the mustard seed Jesus spoke of in Matthew 17:20. Rachel's goal was one clinic. Her outreach was one call. Her action was one booking. Small steps shifted her destiny. Your steps will do the same. God's not asking for a leap across the ocean. He's asking for one stroke of the oar. Proverbs 3:5-6 promises, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." Your path straightens as you move, not as you wait. If this message is igniting a fire in your soul, consider sowing a seed through Super Thanks below. Your support carries this truth to others rowing through their own storms, ready to reach their divine shore. But whether you give or simply receive, your presence here is a victory. Let's keep rowing. Picture a garden, its soil rich and ready, waiting for seeds to be planted. Your fears are seeds the enemy sowed, hoping to choke your destiny with weeds of doubt. But God's turning that soil. He's pulling those weeds, preparing you to plant seeds of faith that will grow into a harvest beyond your imagination. Galatians 6:7 declares, "A man reaps what he sows." Every step you take through fear is a seed of faith, and God's promising a harvest of breakthrough, purpose, and legacy. Let's talk about the fear of timing. Maybe you're thinking, "I've missed my moment. I'm too old, too young, too broken." That's a lie from the pit of hell. God's timing is perfect, and his clock doesn't tick like ours. Look at Abraham, called at 75 to father nations. Sarah, 90 when she birthed Isaac. Moses, 80 when he led Israel out of Egypt. Their age wasn't a barrier, it was a testimony. Your timing isn't late, it's divine. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." Your fears about timing are just weeds. Pull them out by acting now. Write that goal, make that call, take that step. God's beauty is unfolding in your story right now. If you're ready to plant your seeds of faith, type "I am sowing my destiny" in the comments below. Your declaration is a seed taking root in heaven's soil. Pray for the person who commented before you, because we're gardeners in God's kingdom, tending each other's harvests. Now, let's keep going. Imagine a battlefield, not with swords and shields, but with spiritual forces clashing over your soul. Ephesians 6:12 reminds us, "Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world." Your fears are the enemy's arrows, aimed at your heart to keep you from this door. But you're not defenseless. Psalm 91:4 promises, "He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge." His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. God's your shield. Your faith is your weapon. Wield it by moving forward. Let's talk about Daniel, a 34-year-old mechanic from Phoenix. He dreamed of starting a mentorship program for at-risk youth, but feared he wasn't qualified. No degree, no platform, just a heart for change. One night, praying in his garage, he felt a nudge to act. He wrote his goal: mentor 5 kids this year. He called a local pastor to partner. He took one step, hosting a car repair workshop for teens. That workshop grew into a program that's transformed dozens of lives. Daniel's fear of inadequacy was his key to breakthrough. He didn't need credentials, he needed courage. What's your garage? What's the small space where God's calling you to start? Your fears aren't just personal, they're generational. The enemy's been targeting your bloodline, sowing fear to stop the legacy God's planned. But you're a curse breaker. Isaiah 61:4 declares, "They will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long devastated." Your steps through fear rebuild what's been broken. Your goal restores hope. Your outreach heals division. Your action plants freedom for your children's children. You're not just fighting for you, you're fighting for them. Every fear you face is a chain you break, a ruin you rebuild, a legacy you establish. Let's talk about the fear of exposure. Maybe you're scared to step out because people will see you, your flaws, your doubts, your past. But God's not hiding you. He's highlighting you. Think of Gideon, hiding in a winepress when God called him a mighty warrior, Judges 6:12. Gideon's fear of being seen was real, but God saw past it. He didn't need a polished hero, he needed a willing heart. Your exposure isn't a risk, it's a revelation. Your story, flaws and all, is the testimony someone needs. Write that goal, make that call, take that step. Your melody will inspire others to play theirs. If you're ready to join God's symphony, type "I am playing my part" in the comments below. Your declaration is a note in heaven's song. Pray for the person who commented before you, because we're a choir of chosen ones, singing together. Let's keep moving. Imagine a sunrise, its golden rays piercing the darkness, painting the sky with hope. That's your breakthrough, chosen one. Your fears are the night, but dawn is breaking. Malachi 4:2 promises, "But for you who revere my name, the Sun of Righteousness will rise with healing in its rays." Your healing, your purpose, your destiny, they're rising now. Don't let fear keep you in the dark. Step into the light with those 3 steps and watch God's promises unfold. The sunrise of your breakthrough is not a distant dream, chosen one. It's cresting the horizon of your life right now. Its rays warming the places fear has kept cold. You stand at the edge of this divine moment, the door before you pulsing with celestial light, your name carved in letters that shimmer like stars. Malachi 4:2 isn't just a promise. It's a declaration that the Sun of Righteousness is rising for you, bringing healing, restoration, and purpose. But here's the truth that will jolt your spirit awake. This sunrise won't pause for your hesitation. The dawn of your destiny is breaking, and fear is the only shadow left standing in your way. This isn't about waiting for the light to grow brighter. It's about stepping into it, trusting that the one who hung the sun in the sky is guiding your path. Your faith journey is reaching a crescendo, and the fears you've carried are the final notes of a song that's about to give way to a new melody of triumph. Picture a vast desert, its sands stretching endlessly under a relentless sun. You've been walking through this wilderness, parched and weary, your fears like mirages that promise relief but deliver only despair. Yet in the distance, an oasis gleams, lush, vibrant, overflowing with life. Deuteronomy 8:7 and 8 paints this vision. For the Lord your God is bringing you into a good land, a land with brooks, streams, and deep springs gushing out into the valleys and hills, a land with wheat and barley, vines and fig trees. Your fears tell you the oasis is a lie, that you'll never reach it, but God's saying keep walking. Those 3 steps, writing your goal, reaching out to someone, taking one tangible action, are your footsteps through the sand. Each one brings you closer to the streams of His provision, the vines of His favor, the springs of His breakthrough. Let's talk about the fear of insignificance. Maybe you've believed the lie that your life doesn't matter, that your dreams are too small to make a difference. The enemy loves to whisper that you're just one soul in a sea of billions, that your steps won't ripple beyond your own corner of the world. But that's a deception designed to keep you stuck. Look at the widow in 1 Kings 17, who gave Elijah her last bit of flour and oil. She wasn't a queen or a prophet, just a woman on the brink of starvation. Yet her small act of faith, born in the face of fear, unleashed a miracle that sustained her family through famine. Her jar never ran dry. Your small steps are no different. That goal you wrote, that call you made, that action you took, they're your flour and oil, offered in faith. God's about to multiply them into a legacy that outlives you. Consider Malik, a 41-year-old janitor from Cleveland. He always felt insignificant, his job unnoticed, his dreams of coaching youth basketball dismissed by others. Fear told him he was too ordinary to matter. But one day, reading Psalm 139:14, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, he felt a spark. He wrote his goal, coach 5 kids this summer. He called a local rec center to volunteer. He took one step, organizing a free basketball clinic. That clinic grew into a program that's mentored over 100 teens, keeping them off the streets. Malik's fear of insignificance was his key to breakthrough. His small steps changed lives. Your steps can too. You're not insignificant, you're irreplaceable. Chosen before the world began to carry a purpose that shifts atmospheres. If this message is kindling hope in your heart, consider sowing a seed through Super Thanks below. Your generosity waters the dreams of others standing in their own deserts, ready to reach their oasis. But whether you give or simply receive, your presence here is a miracle. Let's keep walking. Imagine a fortress, its walls towering, built not of stone, but of your fears. Fear of change, fear of loss, fear of the unknown. You've been circling this fortress, unsure how to breach it, wondering if what's inside is worth the battle. But God's handing you a battering ram, His word. Joshua 1:9 commands, Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Your fears aren't walls to trap you. They're gates to conquer. Every step you take, writing that goal, making that call, acting on your dream, strikes the fortress, bringing it closer to collapse. Let's talk about the fear of change. Maybe you're comfortable in your wilderness, even if it's dry. The familiar feels safer than the unknown, and fear whispers that stepping through this door will upend everything. But God's not calling you to comfort. He's calling you to courage. Think of Peter, warm and safe in his fishing boat, until Jesus said, Come, follow me. Matthew 4:19. Peter's life changed forever when he left the familiar for the divine. Your change isn't chaos, it's alignment with God's plan. That goal you wrote aligns your vision. That call you made aligns your community. That action you took aligns your purpose. Change isn't your enemy, it's your invitation to the life you were born for. If you're ready to breach the fortress of fear, type, I am conquering my fears in the comments below. Your declaration is a war cry, echoing through the spiritual realm. Pray for the person who commented before you, because we're an army storming the gates together. Now, let's press forward. Picture a river of fire, its flames dancing with holy intensity. This isn't destruction, it's purification. Your fears are impurities, and God's refining you in this river to shine like gold. 1 Peter 1:7 says, "These trials have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor." Your fears aren't failures, they're the fire that reveals your true worth. Every step through fear polishes you for your divine purpose. Let's talk about Anna, a 55-year-old librarian from Boise. She feared loss, losing stability, losing respect, if she pursued her dream of writing children's books. For years she stayed in her safe job, her stories locked in notebooks. But one morning praying, she felt God whisper, "Your stories are my gift to the world." She wrote her goal, finish one book this year. She called a writer friend for feedback. She took one step, submitting her manuscript to a publisher. That book became a local bestseller, inspiring kids to dream big. Anna's fear of loss was her key to breakthrough. Her steps didn't cost her, they enriched her. What are you afraid to lose? Trust God to replace it with something greater. Your fears are part of your refining process, chosen one. They're not here to burn you, but to reveal the gold within. Those 3 steps, your goal, your outreach, your action, are your tools in the fire. They shape you, strengthen you, prepare you for the rooms this door leads to. Rooms of influence, healing, and legacy. Zechariah 13:9 says, "I will refine them like silver and test them like gold. They will call on my name and I will answer them." God's answering you now. Keep stepping and watch the impurities of fear fall away. Let's talk about the fear of vulnerability. Maybe you're scared to open your heart, to let others see your dreams or your struggles. Vulnerability feels like exposure, but it's actually power. Think of Jesus on the cross, vulnerable yet victorious, his open heart changing eternity. Your vulnerability in pursuing your calling, sharing your goal, asking for support, acting despite doubts, invites others to the bank. Your story becomes their strength. You're not weak for being open, you're unstoppable, a living testimony that God meets us in our rawest moments. The banquet hall of your destiny stretches before you, chosen one, its golden light illuminating every promise God has spoken over your life. You've stepped past the gatekeeper of fear, your heart open and vulnerable, ready to claim your seat at this divine feast. Revelation 3:20 isn't just an invitation, it's a covenant, a sacred agreement that when you open the door to Jesus, he dines with you, filling you with the strength, wisdom, and purpose you need for the journey ahead. But here's the truth that will ignite your spirit. This feast isn't just for you to consume, it's for you to serve. The fears you've conquered are now your credentials, qualifying you to pull others to the table, to share the overflow of God's goodness. Your spiritual awakening is not a private moment, it's a movement. And the door you've crossed leads to a mission that will echo through generations. Picture a vast vineyard, its vines heavy with ripened grapes, stretching across rolling hills under a sky painted with dawn's first light. This vineyard is your life's work, the legacy God's calling you to cultivate. John 15:5 declares, "I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing." Your fears once choked these vines, tangling them with doubts about your worth, your timing, your ability. But as you've taken those 3 steps, writing your goal, reaching out to someone, acting on your dream, you've pruned those fears, allowing God's life to flow through you. Each step is a tendril reaching for sunlight, a branch bearing fruit that feeds not just you but those starving for hope. Your divine purpose is to cultivate this vineyard, and your fears were the weeds God's now using as fertilizer for your harvest. Let's talk about the fear of responsibility. Maybe you're trembling at the thought of what this door demands, not just stepping through, but leading others through behind you. The weight of influence, of impacting lives, feels heavy, and fear whispers that you're not ready to carry it. But God's not asking you to carry it alone. Philippians 4:13 proclaims, "I can do all this through him who gives me strength." Your responsibility isn't a burden. It's a privilege. Think of Nehemiah, rebuilding Jerusalem's walls despite opposition. His fear of leading a broken people was real, but his faith in God's call was greater. He didn't build alone, he rallied a community. Your steps, your goal, your outreach, your action aren't solitary. They are rallying cries, inviting others to build with you. Consider Lila, a 47-year-old teacher from Miami. She feared the responsibility of starting a literacy program for immigrant children, worried she couldn't handle the logistics or the expectations. Fear told her to stay in her classroom, safe and small. But one evening, reading Nehemiah's story, she felt a nudge. She wrote her goal: teach 10 kids to read this semester. She called a local non-profit to collaborate. She took one step, hosting a reading workshop in her school's library. That workshop grew into a city-wide program empowering hundreds of kids. Lila's fear of responsibility was her key to breakthrough. Her steps didn't overwhelm her, they multiplied her impact. What responsibility are you shying away from? Your steps are enough to start, and God's strength will carry you through. If this message is stirring your courage to lead, consider sowing a seed through Super Thanks below. Your generosity plants seeds in the vineyards of others, helping them bear fruit for their divine purpose. But whether you give or simply receive, you're a branch in God's vine. Let's keep tending. Imagine a lighthouse perched on a jagged cliff, its beam cutting through a stormy night. You're that lighthouse, chosen one, your light forged in the fires of fear, now guiding ships, souls, safely to shore. Matthew 5:16 commands, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Your fears once dimmed this light, convincing you to hide your gifts, your story, your calling. But those 3 steps have turned up the flame. Your goal is a spark, your outreach is a glow, your action is a blaze. You're not just shining for yourself, you're a beacon for the lost. Let's talk about the fear of sacrifice. Maybe you're hesitating because stepping through this door means giving up something: time, comfort, security. Fear tells you the cost is too high, that what you lose won't be worth what you gain. But Jesus said in Mark 8:35, "Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will find it." Your sacrifice isn't subtraction, it's investment. Think of Ruth leaving her homeland to follow Naomi. Her fear of losing familiarity was real, but her sacrifice led to a legacy in the lineage of Christ. Your sacrifice. Writing that goal despite busyness, reaching out despite pride, acting despite risk, isn't loss. It's planting seeds for a harvest you can't yet see. If you're ready to shine as God's lighthouse, type "My light is blazing for God" in the comments below. Your declaration is a beam, guiding others to safety. Pray for the one who commented before you, because we're lighthouses, standing together against the storm. Let's keep shining. Picture a tapestry unfolding across the heavens. Each thread is a life touched by your courage, a story woven into God's eternal design. Romans 8:19 says, "The creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." Creation isn't waiting for you to perfect your plans. It's waiting for you to step into your identity as a chosen one, to weave your thread through fear and into glory. Your 3 steps are your needle, stitching your purpose into this tapestry, connecting you to others whose stories depend on yours. Let's talk about Emma, a 33-year-old barista from Nashville. She feared sacrifice, terrified of quitting her stable job to start a community garden for mental health support. The cost, financial security, time, energy, felt overwhelming. But one Sunday, hearing Ruth's story, she felt God's call. She wrote her goal: plant 1 garden this year. She called a local therapist to partner. She took 1 step, leasing a small plot. That garden became a sanctuary for dozens, healing hearts through nature. Emma's fear of sacrifice was her key to a breakthrough. Her steps didn't deplete her, they sowed life. What are you afraid to give up? Trust God to multiply your offering into abundance. Your fears are threads, chosen one, not chains. They're part of the tapestry God's weaving through your life, turning your struggles into art that glorifies Him. Those 3 steps, your goal, your outreach, your action, are enough to keep stitching. They're simple, yet they shift eternities, because God's power flows through your obedience. Let's keep weaving. Imagine a celestial clock, its hands glowing with divine timing, counting down to the moment your breakthrough fully manifests. Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Your fears have had their season, but now it's time for faith. This clock isn't rushing you, it's aligning you with God's perfect plan. Your steps are your rhythm, keeping you in sync with heaven's beat. Let's talk about the fear of permanence. Maybe you're scared that stepping through this door is final, that there's no turning back. Fear tells you you'll be trapped, unable to retreat if things go wrong. But God's not trapping you, He's freeing you. Think of the Israelites crossing the Red Sea. Their fear of being stuck between Pharaoh and the waves was real, but God parted the waters. Exodus 14:16 records, "Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water." Your steps, your goal, your outreach, your action are your staff, parting the fears that block your path. Crossing isn't confinement, it's liberation into the land God's prepared. The golden arches of this bridge gleam brighter with every step you take, chosen one, each footfall a defiant declaration that fear will not hold you back. You're crossing the chasm of doubt, the winds of fear howling but powerless against your faith. Hebrews 10:39 isn't just a verse, it's your battle cry, proclaiming you belong to those who press forward, who claim their salvation through courage. This bridge leads to the land of your promise, a place flowing with the abundance of God's purpose, where your dreams take root and your legacy blooms. Your fears once made this crossing seem impossible, but those 3 steps, writing your goal, reaching out to someone, taking one tangible action, are your steady footing, anchoring you to God's plan. Your divine purpose is unfolding, and the fear of permanence, that whisper of being trapped, is fading like mist under the sun of your breakthrough. Picture a celestial forge, its fires roaring with divine intensity, hammers ringing against an anvil that shapes destinies. You're in that forge, chosen one, your fears being heated, molded, transformed into tools of glory. Isaiah 54:16 declares, "See, it is I who created the blacksmith who fans the coals into flame and forges a weapon fit for its work." Your fears aren't flaws, They're raw materials in God's hand. The fear of permanence, that dread of irreversible choices, is being forged into unwavering commitment, a weapon to carve your path. Every step you've taken, writing that goal, making that call, acting on your dream, strikes the anvil, shaping your fears into strength. This forge isn't punishing you, it's equipping you for the battles and blessings beyond this door. Let's talk about the fear of isolation. Maybe you're hesitating because you feel alone, as if crossing this bridge means leaving others behind or facing your destiny without support. Fear whispers that no one will understand your journey, that you'll stand in your promised land solitary and exposed. But that's a lie crafted to keep you tethered to the chasm's edge. Psalm 68:6 sings, "God sets the lonely in families. He leads out the prisoners with singing." You're not crossing alone. God's weaving a family around you, those who share your faith, your struggles, your dreams. Your outreach, that call or text you sent, wasn't just a step. It was a thread, connecting you to a divine community. Your goal and action are beacons, drawing others to walk with you. You're not isolated. You're indispensable to God's tapestry. Consider Javier, a 39-year-old carpenter from San Antonio. He feared isolation, believing his dream of starting a woodworking school for at-risk youth would alienate him from his peers, who saw it as impractical. Fear told him he'd end up alone, pouring his heart into a vision no one shared. But one night, praying in his workshop, he felt God's presence. He wrote his goal: teach 10 students this year. He called a local youth center to propose his idea. He took one step, building a small classroom in his garage. That school now trains dozens, with community volunteers joining him. Javier's fear of isolation was his key to breakthrough. His steps built not just a school, but a family. Who's in your family? Your steps are drawing them closer. If this message is knitting your heart to God's family, consider sowing a seed through Super Thanks below. Your generosity strengthens the threads connecting chosen ones worldwide, helping them cross their own bridges. But whether you give or simply receive, you're part of this divine community. Let's keep forging. Imagine a starlit sky, each star a promise God's spoken over your life, twinkling with eternal possibility. Your fears once clouded this sky, obscuring the constellations of your destiny. But now, as you cross this bridge, the clouds are parting. Genesis 15:5 echoes God's words to Abraham, "Look up at the sky and count the stars, if indeed you can count them. So shall your offspring be." Your fears aren't dimming your stars, they're revealing them. Your 3 steps are your gaze upward, aligning you with God's cosmic plan. Your goal is a star. Your outreach is a constellation. Your action is a galaxy, shining for generations. Let's talk about the fear of imperfection. Maybe you're pausing because you feel flawed, unworthy of the promised land across this bridge. Fear tells you your mistakes disqualify you, that your past makes you unfit for God's calling. But God's not looking for perfection. He's looking for willingness. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Your imperfections aren't barriers, they're conduits for God's strength. Think of Peter denying Jesus 3 times, his flaws glaring. Yet Jesus restored him, saying, "Feed my sheep." John 21:17. Your steps, your goal, your outreach, your action aren't perfect, but they're powerful because they're offered in faith. Your imperfections are your invitation to God's grace. If you're ready to shine despite your flaws, type "My stars are rising" in the comments below. Your declaration lights up the sky, inspiring others to look up. Pray for the one who commented before you, because we're stargazers in God's kingdom, marveling together. Let's keep crossing. Picture a sacred altar, its stones glowing with holy fire, a place where heaven meets earth. You're standing before this altar, your fears laid upon it as offerings, transformed into worship. Romans 12:1 urges, "Offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship." Your fears aren't failures, they're sacrifices, surrendered to God's fire. The fear of imperfection, that nagging doubt of unworthiness, is burning away, revealing your true identity as a chosen vessel. Your 3 steps are your worship, each one a stone on this altar, building a monument to God's faithfulness. Let's talk about Sophia, a 50-year-old accountant from Denver. She feared imperfection, believing her past financial mistakes disqualified her from starting a non-profit to help families in debt. Fear told her she wasn't credible, that her flaws would undermine her mission. But one morning, reading 2 Corinthians 12:9, she felt God's grace. She wrote her goal: help 20 families this year. She called a financial advisor to collaborate. She took one step, launching a free budgeting workshop. That nonprofit now serves hundreds, with Sophia's story inspiring trust. Her fear of imperfection was her key to breakthrough. Her steps didn't erase her flaws, they amplified God's power. What flaws are you hiding? Offer them on God's altar and watch Him work. Your fears are fuel for this altar, chosen one. They're not consuming you, they're consecrating you. Those 3 steps, your goal, your outreach, your action, are your offerings, holy and pleasing to God. They're building something eternal, a testimony that will outlive you. Let's keep sacrificing. Imagine a throne room, its air electric with divine authority, angels chanting, "Holy, holy, holy." You're approaching the throne, not as a servant but as a co-heir with Christ. Romans 8:17 says, "Now if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God and co-heirs with Christ." Your fears once kept you at the door trembling, but now you're walking boldly, your steps echoing with purpose. Your goal is your crown. Your outreach is your scepter. Your action is your robe, adorned with God's favor. You're not begging for a seat, you're claiming your inheritance. Let's talk about the fear of exposure. Maybe you're scared to let your light shine fully, to reveal the dreams God's placed in you. Fear tells you exposure will bring criticism, rejection, failure. But God's calling you to shine, not shrink. Isaiah 61 commands, "Arise, shine, for your light has come,